Great. Well, today I'm here with Hanna Fitz, and why don't we dive straight into it, Hanna? If you could introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your career transition journey.
Great. So I'm from the island of St. Lucia. I've pretty much lived everywhere. I grew up in Martinique, so French is the first language that I spoke.
Okay.
And then I moved to the English-speaking part, which is the island of St. Lucia, and spent most of my summers in the United States. I've spent a lot of time in London.
Hmm.
I lived in Italy for 2 years. But all before the move to Italy and Europe and everything else, I was in a corporate job for about 3.5 years.
Hmm.
I worked as a new product development and product management officer for a major financial group in the Eastern Caribbean. And it was a really fulfilling job, especially as a first job as a new grad. I had a lot of responsibility and a lot of opportunities to help create new policies and to really make a difference, manage projects, work with very senior teams. And it was fulfilling to an extent. Somewhere along the way in the journey, I started to reconnect with my true heart's desires. And I started to feel a very strong call to just take action on my dreams. But we're talking about 2010, and that's 2 years after the whole financial crash in the United States. And of course, the economies in the Caribbean are very dependent on what happens in the US market,
Hmm.
especially because of the tourism industry. And so it was really probably not the best time to be thinking about quitting your job and starting a business. And it was pretty scary for me because when you get that call, sometimes it can be such a strong urge that you can't say no. You'll get to that point
Hmm.
if anyone listening hasn't experienced that yet. It's such a compelling feeling of knowing that this is what you need to do and you need to do it now.
Hmm.
And I had to admit that I was so overwhelmed by this. It was like connecting to some spiritual source that it was so strong. I started to cry and I was overwhelmed. And I got a friend to sit with me. And, we really talked through. And I said, I know this is what I have to do. And of course, you go through the motions of wanting to look for a sign and, please show me a sign. Am I making the right decision? I went to my family and I said, I'm going to quit my job. And I'm expecting them to say, you are mad. Hold on. They said, no, I understand.
Okay.
Of course, I come from an entrepreneurial family. So, I got a lot of support on that end, which really helped. I went to my manager, and when I finally handed in my resignation after typing it and leaving it on my computer for a whole month, I she said to me, Hannah, I know you're ready.
Oh, wow.
But she said, we really appreciate your work, so I'm going to hold on to it for another 2 weeks in case you change your mind before I send it off to HR. And and I knew I wasn't going to change my mind at that point. The company's MD wrote to me, and he wanted to know where I was living, and I said, I remember I met you at a cocktail party some years ago, and you said to me, "Why are you here?" He said, "You seem so much more ambitious than what this company can offer you."
Mm.
And that was profound because if he saw that in me several years ago, I
Mm.
remembered it and it sort of gave me the strength to just push forward despite what I saw happening in the economy. And I decided to take a leap, take a chance on my dreams. That was 7 years ago,
Mm.
and I have no regrets. My life has changed so much from that
Mm.
moment, from the girl who was sitting in the cubicle to the girl who's traveled all over the world working with clients in Europe, North America, and the Caribbean.
Mm.
So it's just been an incredible ride.
Oh, wow. That sounds amazing, and it's unusual, I think, to have other people telling you to go for it. I think often it's that little voice inside of us, and then the people around are perhaps voicing the fears that we have. So it's fantastic
Yes.
to hear that you had that reassurance from other people. Actually, they believed in you.
Absolutely. I think it really helps me. I think, the universe really positions things or aligns things for your personality.
Mm.
And I needed it. I needed to have the support.
Mm,
I needed to know, in a way, at the time, I thought I needed to know it was okay. Now I understand that you don't really need permission from anyone. And even if you're not
mhm,
getting that support, that you should be reassured in your purpose and in your desire,
mhm,
knowing that you're guided anyway. At the time, I didn't have that
mm,
information. I wasn't there yet. I was just starting my whole spiritual journey and mindset shifting. And so I got what I needed at the time,
mm, mm, mm.
which was the support, and it really helped in terms of helping me make the decision moving forward.
Mm. I love that. I think I've certainly always looked to other people for reassurance and to tell me, yes, you're on the right path. This is the right decision. So it's a big step to take to sort of believe in yourself and to trust your gut and not necessarily to listen to, well, maybe to listen to, but then take on board, consider, and then sort of filter out the advice that perhaps doesn't fit with how you feel and what you know is the right thing for you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Otherwise, you just find yourself constantly going in this back and forth of relying on what people think is best for you as opposed to trusting. And I've
Mm,
learned now to trust a lot more what I'm hearing or feeling, and to just know that I'm guided. Like, no matter
mm,
what decision I make, I'll be okay. I think sometimes we're afraid that we're not going to be okay.
mm,
And it's just to know that it doesn't matter what happens, I am going to be just fine.
mm. That's great. Simple, but very powerful.
Yes.
And can I
Yeah.
ask, what was the biggest challenge then that you faced through this time? It sounded like, as I said, you had a lot of sort of positive energy, both from the universe, as you said, and from people around you. What was the challenge you faced?
One of the challenges I faced, of course, was really, again, trusting that, yes, this is the
Mm,
path, that I'm on the right track. Especially when you're just starting and you haven't met like-minded people who are on a
mm,
similar journey. And so I think one of the challenges I had was really feeling like I was on this journey alone
mm,
initially. Um, Working from home can be quite a challenge, especially when everybody else is used to having a corporate job or a job
mm,
outside the home. And so people start to think that when you work from home, that you're actually lounging all day and you have nothing to do because you're at home. So they call anytime, and it can be very challenging sort of balancing your time initially. And one of the things that I also had to get over was a feeling of guilt, because in my new career, I was having so much fun. And some days it didn't feel like work. I remember one day, the most incredible thing happened. I ended up working with a client who had a private jet company. And he had me organize this business meeting with other potential clients. And we flew on the jet and had, the whole airport concierge and everything. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, I felt so bad. My other friends are at work. How can I didn't feel like I deserved it
mm,
initially. And it's also a part of my process of having to getting to that point of feeling comfortable with enjoying myself, feeling comfortable with enjoying the things that are coming to me without feeling guilty about receiving it.
mhm,
So that was an important thing to overcome as well.
mm. And on that note, then, where did you find the support to overcome those things like the guilt, as well as the logistical facts of working from home and so
Um,
on?
I think it's a lot of people, a lot of mentorship, coaching.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, I started, working with a coach. He's an incredible.
Mm,
He's one of the best salespeople I knew. And of course, when you have your own business, sales is a key part of what you do.
mm,
And so he'd worked with a Fortune 500 company, and he was just a rock star in my mind. And so I worked with him a lot, and that gave me a lot of support and guidance on the journey. And I also started doing a lot of personal development, reading a lot of
mm-hmm.
books, and following a lot of the top personal development experts and coaches out there. I did stuff with people like Brendan Bashad, and I followed a lot of Bob Proctor and
Mm,
a lot of personal development stuff. People who have passed away. One of my favorites is Dr. Joseph Murphy,
mm-hmm.
who talks a lot about the subconscious mind. And so I really went in and I started to work on me, because I thought that was a crucial part of getting my business to where I really wanted it to be, because I was the central point. I was the person driving it.
Mm,
And so I needed to be in a right mindset to really take it to where I need to go.
fantastic. And I can imagine. I mean, you're from the amazing location that you're from, but what's the what's the best part of your lifestyle now that you have? Yeah, you have this new business success set up.
Well, I think it's more flexibility and more
Mm,
freedom. I get to choose who I work with,
mm,
which is great. From day one of my business, I have to admit, especially coming from a product development background and branding, uh, I really set out the intention of who I wanted to work with, the type of
mm,
clients I wanted to be surrounded by. And so from very early, I set that up in my business, and I think it's one of the things that I'm proud of, that I've worked with, a lot of brands that I I feel like I both helped make a difference, but also they've made a difference in my
mm,
life, because when you work with clients at that level, you're also learning certain things and getting to another level yourself. So
mm.
so that's one of the things that I would say, yeah.
Oh, great. And just to pick up on something you said then, and also the money issue that you were talking about before. So I think when people are starting out, you're sort of, you have the confidence issue. Am I really going to be able to do this? And
Sure.
can I charge what I'm charging and so on? So what advice can you give, I guess, to people who are a little bit hesitant there, but do want to, I think it's a great idea, as you said, to have that intention, to be clear on who you want to work with and to do that. But how can we stick to that and not get sort of concerned, I guess, about the money thing?
Yeah, it is a challenge. I remember one time, because again, I had this coach and he was working with me, and he said he said one of the most scary things I heard. He told me, better the client turns you down because they thought your price was too high than it's too low.
Yeah.
And and it's one of the things that stuck with me. And it's not about overcharging, but it's about charging what you're worth.
Mm,
And really, what I've noticed, and I would say to anyone who's afraid of charging, or even walking away from a client, and knowing that it's okay to walk away,
mm-hmm,
is that sometimes when you compromise on your price, the client isn't looking for a compromise in quality.
mm-hmm,
And so you compromising on price, it sort of takes away something from you. You're now working a lot more for a lot less. The entire energy has changed in the
mm,
dynamic. The client isn't as committed to the process because they're not as invested. And so no one is really benefiting from the process.
mm,
So again, I mean, for me, you have to understand your market. And given the market that I was in, I understood the type of client I needed to work with to earn the money that I wanted to earn,
mm.
and to do the level of work that I needed to do. And so it's really from a point of knowing, and knowing the customer, knowing what you have to offer, and knowing that it is valuable.
Mm,
I think where a lot of people get stuck is not understanding the value of what they have to offer, in relationship to what it is doing for the client, and how that equates to a monetary reimbursement.
mm,
And so it's really getting clear about that and getting confident in your work. Obviously, I mean, I've never stopped learning. I'm
mm,
always studying and doing new courses and leveling up. And every time I level up, I know it's an added value to my client.
mm-hmm,
I'm bringing something new. And so it's really knowing that you can bring something to the table and to stand by that. And clients will respect you for
mm.
it. And, I've had clients who've said no and then who've come back later.
Okay.
And I never act as if this is the only client that I can get. I think some
Mm,
people, they think when they hear no, oh no, that was my chance.
yeah.
There are always other chances. We live in an abundant universe, and there's always more. It's hard sometimes, especially when you need the money. I've been in the beginning of my business where I thought this is the client for me. And I thought it was a short deal. The client said they were going to work with me. And part of me handing in my resignation was on the reassurance I was getting this big client.
Mm-hmm,
They're an international chain, and I was very happy to have that as my first client. And then I got an email saying, oh, they decided to go in a different direction and my resignation is in and no client. But I decided to move forward and more clients came. And a month later, this company came back and started to work with me.
Oh, fantastic. Okay.
So, it's just trusting and knowing that there are more than enough clients for you. It's knowing your market, knowing your customers, knowing what you have to offer and standing by that.
Oh, good. Lots of very practical tips there, I think, and also very reassuring message. So thank you for that. And final question, I guess, looking back to where you were in 2010, and maybe if someone else is in that situation, what advice would you give yourself or give to someone who is in that situation you described, that you're in a fulfilling job, it's okay, but deep down you know that you have more to give and you want to go out and grab that dream that you have?
I would say go for it. If I could speak to myself then, I probably would have run out the door because, the way my life has changed since then, the people that I've gotten the opportunity to work with, the fulfillment I wake up with every day, knowing that I'm doing the work that I really want to do and knowing that I'm making a difference in people's lives, meeting people and doing, just making an impact and feeling fulfilled within myself, having the opportunity to travel, being able to move to Milan and live there for 2 years. All of these opportunities probably would not have happened if I had just stayed stuck and comfortable. And again, it's depleting. Every day you go into a job that your heart isn't into. So for me, my mantra is if I can't put my heart into it, I can't be in it. And that's what I stand by. I have to feel passionate about what I'm doing. Because when you feel passionate, you're not selling at all. People feel that passion and they get right into it with you. And I found that most of my sales success have come when I've been very passionate and committed to the project and I'm really feeling it. I don't even have to sell myself. The client catches on and we're sort of on the same wavelength. We sort of know, we sort of have a good fit and a match because we're speaking the same language and we're connecting in the same way. And so if you feel very passionate about something, it's not easy. You have to plan. And I would say, get the guidance early because there are a lot of mistakes that you might make in the first few years that could be avoided. And there's always someone out there who has already done what you're trying to do. And so I would say find the help that you need to lay the foundation right and to just have the confidence that you have a system to work with because confidence is so key in business.
Oh, wonderful. Hanna, I can talk to you forever. I love I love hearing about your experience, and it's so lovely to know that these parallel experiences are happening sort of around the world, whether you're in St. Lucia or Cambodia or London.
Yeah.
We're all having these sort of transitions and experiencing these wonderful changes. So I'm really happy to hear about your journey and your success and your clients' success, which is good as well. Finally, then, where can we find you online? How can we find you on social media or your website?
Great. So my website is www.hannafitz.com, and that's Hanna without an H at the end. So that's HANNAFITZ.com. And on Instagram, I'm Hanna Fitz at Hanna Fitz. I'm also on Facebook, and I just created this new online group, Facebook group, to help support female entrepreneurs and to just network and to be surrounded with like-minded women, because I do understand the importance of being surrounded by people who are on the same journey as you are and who are working towards the same thing, that you can pretty much have a conversation that someone else will understand. And so the Facebook group is called Pearls and Purpose Lounge. And I named it Pearls and Purpose because part of my movement is creating the cultured life. That is the act of deliberately creating your life much in the same way that you culture pearls.
Okay.
Yeah. And so this is sort of part of my movement of showing women that they can step into a more lustrous life. They can create the life that they desire with intention and with deliberate action. And so you can also join the group on Facebook. I invite every woman out there who's on the same journey to join us.
Oh, great. Well, I'll definitely be joining that. That sounds beautiful. And I'm a huge believer in sort of finding your tribe, as you said, finding those like-minded people to support you on your journey. So,
Exactly, exactly. Thank you so much, Anna. I mean, this has been wonderful. Is there anything else that you'd like me to speak about,
oh, I'm
or?
sure I could, as I said, I can talk to you forever, but I think we'll leave it there. Keep it short and sweet, and then I'll definitely be exploring more on your website, and I'm sure people watching will be interested to find out more too. So, thank you so much, Hannah.
Thank you very much, Anna. Thank you.